warm welcome to Q News English with Vijay Rana along with Deepak from our studios out here in Bangalore. And as you can all see before I came in, the city is on fire. That's the Gaza Strip probably. And the other day, 2 days ago, we were actually trying, I was about to speak on this, something related to this. But yesterday what we witnessed was not something that anyone could have anticipated. Now in the ongoing conflict which has been going on since 1980s between Israel, or in fact since the very formation of Israel, the conflict has been going on, and Israel has been in a state of war since its very formation or even before that. So that's the history that they have. Now 5,000 rockets were fired by Hamas. Now, who is Hamas? What is Hamas? And why there is a conflict between Israel and Palestine? So do you want me to go through that first? Before we go on to the news, let's see if what the audience wants. Do you want to know more about Israel and Palestine conflict that is going on right now? What are the main reasons for it? So here we have Satyam is very much here, along with starting with sad news, losing peace in Gaza. Yes, Bhagya Kumar, you are absolutely right. How can it be a good morning for anybody, when 5,000 rockets are fired on any nation? So please do let me know. And we have Shrinu Advait also wishing us all a good morning. So let me, in fact, let me start a poll in regards to this. And in fact, let's start with this. Let me just try and explain, because we won't have much time, but definitely I would try my best to explain this scenario as to what are the reasons, what is Hamas, and why this devastation is taking place in between Israel and, where is my blackboard? Okay, I have my blackboard, which I do not know how to operate, but I've learned few tips. I've taken few tips from Deepak, so thank you, Deep. So let's say, and people please don't mind my spellings, I'll just use, so this is Israel. In fact, before we come to Israel, why, what is the root cause? So root cause can be one, religion. So the capital city, Jerusalem was the capital city once for Israel. So Israel and capital city being Jerusalem. Now Jerusalem is the area which holds prime importance because of three religions, because of the temples or mosques or churches. So one, temple of Jews. What is this? Okay. That was the first one that was built thousands of years ago. And then Israel was invaded by the Muslim empires prevailing then. And one of their prophets actually prayed very close to this temple, and then he went to heaven after stepping on a stone. So where he prayed, there was a mosque. So after Makkah and Medina, this mosque is, the most important area for the Muslims. And then after the Crusades happened, now I was talking about the Crusades the other day. I wanted to know if you would want to know more about the three Crusades that happened. Why did that happen, and what was the amount of devastation that was caused? We will get to that some other day, but for now let's focus on Israel. So after Christianity, so they also formed a church because the Roman Empire was growing in power. So, and they actually, this is when it all started. So the Roman Empire attacked Israel, and all of the Israelis actually fled to different parts of the world, primarily United Kingdom and other areas, other countries surrounding, in fact primarily Europe. So they were all scattered. So Israel had zero population of native Israelis, or very minor. So earlier, starting in the very beginning, Israelis were present in the entire region, but then they were, they were moved out of Israel, and the Israel was occupied by the Muslim rulers, and they formed a country called Palestine. So Palestine was formed, and the majority population, or in fact all the Muslims, were residing in Palestine. So Israel became Palestine, and the local population who were Jews. So Jews were replaced by Muslims, and then the Christianity also had a very minor presence out there, but Muslims were predominantly the residents of Palestine. Now, after First World War, during the First World War, the Jews supported the people, or the United Kingdom army. They majorly supported United Kingdom army so that they can get back their land, they can get back to their country, which was now being ruled by the United Kingdom. And in World War II as well, they wholeheartedly, they lost lakhs of men. They invested heavily in World War II as well, and owing to which United Kingdom actually started this. What United Kingdom did? They actually, let's say this is present day. Now Israel became Palestine. So this is Palestine. So they gave a piece of land to Israel. And also, let's say this is the area where we have a church, we have a mosque, and we also have a temple of Jews. Now only a single wall of this temple remains. So it's better to, now I cannot use the eraser. How do I use the eraser on this? Okay, let's make it only a wall like this. So only a wall remains, and all the Jews, wherever they are in the world, they will pray in the direction of that wall only. So all the Jews were being relocated, and they were also not happy with the way they were treated in Europe. They were all treated as second-class citizens. Whatever rules or amendments that were being done, they were not okay, they were not fine with it, and the treatment did not change. A lot of racism was happening. Primarily, the reason was Jesus Christ. Now, Jesus Christ was a born Jew. He was born in a Jewish family. But then he propagated he actually created a separate religion called Christianity. And he started propagating Christianity, owing to which the Jew ruler then gave him the capital punishment, or he was crucified then. So, all the Christians today, they feel that the Jews are the, murderer of Jesus Christ. They killed Jesus Christ. That's what the allegation is on them, which is right. In fact, their leader back then, that's what the history says, but it's not the present day Jew who did this, but they have a lot of hatred against Jews because they killed Jesus Christ, owing to which they were always treated as, because all these European countries were predominantly, the majority of the population there was that of Christians, so they did not treat the Jews well. So, but Jews supported them in world wars, in both the world wars, owing to which they were being migrated to present day Israel, which was a very small part of Palestine. Now, what Jews did, so they all started migrating, and there was a lot of funding. They were, they were businessman class also. They all funded everybody. Every Jew came together to get back their land that actually originally belonged to them, but now it was owned by majority of the Muslim population. So we have Israeli or Jews on one side, and we have the Muslim population. So now and the Jews started buying land. Let's say they occupied this area as well and included it in their territory. So this is how they started expanding in bits and pieces, and they started occupying land little bit more than what was allocated to them by the United Nations. Also, United Nations did not give control of this particular area, Jerusalem. It was not given to anybody, because all the three religions, they had their holy places of worship out there. That would have caused a lot of conflict. So they retained, nobody has the total control, neither the Palestinians or the Muslims or the Jews or the Christians. Nobody has 100% control on this particular region, which was once the capital city as well. All right. So moving on. So what started here is Jews started expanding, but as soon as they got their country, they did not have the required infrastructure, or so to say the capability. That was the thought in the minds of the neighboring countries that surrounded Palestine. All the Arab nations from all the directions, they formed a group. They wanted to exterminate or completely eradicate Jews from the face of the earth and occupy this part as well. That was present day Israel. But Israel retaliated, and not only retaliated, it actually captured a part of their territory as well. Despite being the smallest nation against 5 or 6 or many of them, all the Arab nations got together to actually fight for this piece of land that was given to the Jews. But Jews retaliated, and they not only retaliated, they captured furthermore territory of Palestine that included Gaza. Now the Gaza Strip, it's just a strip which is very close to like this. It's a strip very close to sea, and they occupied Gaza as well. Now UN intervened and they let go this occupied area of the Arab nations. They did not claim that, they gave it back to them. But they retained control over Gaza Strip. Now this strip is what now a part of, and they also expanded their territory, and they now have majority, in fact not majority even, yes, they have the majority of the land mass of Israel is now increased. So Palestine land mass has been now occupied, which was once belonging to them only. Now they reoccupied their land, and they say we will not be giving this away. They were attacked again, yet again the result was same. They were they occupied this territory yet again for the second time, and then they gave it back on one pact that their trade routes will not be blocked, because their trade routes were being blocked. The sea route, that was the port, they were not allowed to use the port. So on that condition, they gave the land back and utilized the port. There is a lot of sea as well. So those trade routes were to be utilized by the Israelis. Also, owing to this, this conflict that happened wherein they took the Gaza Strip. Now most of the population on Gaza Strip is that of Muslims, and Jews actually sent their population also to Gaza Strip. Now we have a strip where majority was Muslims. Now Jews were also sent. Now we have, let's say, this is the part, or they stay, let's say here, and here. Very few Jews reside in the middle of the Muslim community. Now there was a group that was formed in early 80s. Although all the Muslim ruled states, like or so to say, let's say, how do we put it across? All right, so on one hand the Arab nations, All right, we had Arab nations which were funding. They did not engage in direct war now. They tried twice, they failed. Now they started something that was they started funding the terrorist group, and one of which was Hamas. So Hamas is a designated terrorist group that was created against Israel, operating from Gaza, primarily operating from Gaza. Now, what are the tactics that they use? And while I discuss the tactics, what they use, you will see a similar pattern being followed in India as well, people. Mind you, that is what happened in J&K. A very similar story, very similar pattern, very similar. So now what happened is, what Hamas started doing, it started attacking the rest of the Israel from the Gaza Strip. So they started firing rockets. Now a terrorist group, how did they get access to the modernized weaponry? It is all because of the Arab nations. So they were the ones who actually funded, or they are the ones who are funding this organization called Hamas against Israel. So they want to occupy Israel yet again, and the strategy was to make Israel bleed 1,000 cuts so that they can easily occupy Israel. But Israel is a resilient nation, because every Israeli fights for their existence. If they do not, if they lose Israel, they will be wiped out from the face of the earth. That is the feel that they have, and they know. So they fight with all their might, and they have never lost a war against their enemies, owing to their very existence. So it is the fight for existence on one hand for Israel, and on the other hand, Hamas is hell-bent. Now what they started doing is, they started attacking Israel from crowded areas where there are a lot of civilians out there. Now these rockets, these 5,000 rockets are being fired from civilian locations. From, let's say I'm residing in this building, so they utilize this building, they actually arm this building, or they put a lot of missiles in this building and they fire the rockets from this building. Now what happens is, once you fire a rocket, let's say this is one building which has, let's say, 1,000 or 100 rockets. Now the rocket is fired onto Israel, and this is in Gaza Strip, and Hamas is doing this, and this is Israel. Now these rockets explode here in Israel, within Israel, be it the civil population, be it the civilians, or be it the army. They do not target anybody specific. But in retaliation to this, once Israel attacks the Gaza Strip, or Israel fires a rocket, they will try, and they have the technology to locate this building in particular, from where they can actually diagnose it, or they can find the location using the trajectory of the missile that was fired. They can actually pinpoint a precise location. Now they do this. Before doing this, Israel makes sure that they call and let the people of or the authorities of Gaza know that we are going to bombard this building because it has rockets implanted by Hamas, which will be used against Israel. So please ask the civilians to vacate the surrounding area to avert any collateral damage. But nobody takes a notice of that. On the other hand, the people, the civilians or the women and children also are being used as human shields out there, people, by Hamas. Now Hamas, what they do is, the moment a retaliatory fire comes in from Israel, their women and children get killed. And that becomes the news, and it comes out in the media as the atrocities being done by Israel. Now who started the war? Who who actually bombarded Israel? Were there not human casualties then or civilian casualties then? But nobody questions that. But if Israel retaliates, that becomes a big issue. Now, and their civilians. Now, this is the pattern that I was talking about. This something similar used to happen in Jammu and Kashmir. The stone pelting incidents years ago, if you remember. What they used to do is they used to use civilians as human shields. Their wives or women folks or the kids were also brought in front of the security forces so that the stone pelters could actually, utilize this. So this is a similar pattern that is being followed. And if the armed forces retaliate to the stone pelting, and if a child gets hit during that, that is termed as the atrocities being done by the Indian armed forces. A very similar pattern that was followed by Hamas, and also the guerrilla warfare that Hamas actually started in Israel. Similar pattern was being followed in Kashmir as well. Even now it is being followed. We see infiltrations from Pakistani occupied Kashmir into the Kashmir territory, into the Indian Kashmir or the actual Kashmir. So they are learning from this battle only, and it is also there are countries like Pakistan involved, which are relatively closer to everybody follows a pattern, or they study or they see what exactly are the tactics that are being used by Hamas to disturb peace in Israel. Also, we have the 3 crusades that took place. There is a lot of history, people. I was talking about the crusades, so let me know in the comment section if you would want to know more about the 3 crusades that happened. So it will also be an interesting topic to discuss for us. Now, moving on, we have Hamas today firing 5,000 rockets onto Israel. That is what the whole news is about. So, and it is primarily about the religious place that they want, or they also want the occupation of Israel now. But Israel, again, they have their news agencies like Mossad. Mossad is known to be one of the finest agencies that can operate in. They have conducted operations overseas. Their precision is unmatchable. So unprecedented. Mossad is one of the finest security agencies that exist on the surface of earth today. So they are at par with what India has raw. So Mossad is, in fact, they have conducted operations overseas. So they have an upper hand. But this is now being considered as a failure of Mossad because they were not able to get the information beforehand about this attack so that the civilians could have been warned at least. So civilians were attacked without any prior warning. And every house, people, I was just going through the news as well in regards to this. Every house in Israel has a bunker. Every house has a bunker. If an alarm is sound, they go to that safe room. They have a safe room where they will be saved from this, the rocket attack that happens. So they were not, it was a Saturday and they celebrate their weekends. It was a weekend. Everybody was in the celebration mode. All of a sudden, you have 5,000 rockets being fired, and also in the Gaza Strip, the strip that is the bone of contention now with the partial Israeli population and partial Muslim population residing there. Now, all the Israelis were being fired upon. They started firing on the Israelis in Gaza Strip. A lot of them have been killed during this. So they also came through the sea route, they came through the air. There were different modes of transportation used, and it was a very well planned attack, but Mossad did not have any idea as to this is what is going to hit them so hard. Now, in retaliation to this, Israel has declared a war. Now, what do you mean by declared a war? They were always in a war, but they have declared a war, and by this what we mean is they will be free to use any means, be it the tanks, they will be going with full force. Not only, now they'll be using their drones, their Iron Dome is also one of their defense. It is highly appreciated across the globe. It is one of the best defense systems, that is Iron Dome of Israel. Now Iron Dome, what it does is, if a rocket is fired, let's say from anywhere, it's a dome that covers, or it's basically a set of missiles placed at different locations. So if a rocket is fired, or if a missile is fired towards Israel, let's say this is Israel and this is protected by a dome like this. Now if you fire a rocket from here to enter Israel, now there are, automatically a missile will get triggered, and let's say this is the missile that is coming. Now it will be another retaliatory missile will be triggered from Israel, and it will destroy the other missile which is going to attack Israel in the air itself. But the challenge with Iron Dome is, these people, Hamas, they are actually using rockets, and the cost of manufacturing a rocket is relatively is like 100 times lower than manufacturing cost of a missile. So Israel's Iron Dome uses missiles that react to any entity or any element, be it a rocket or be it a missile. It will go and hit it in the air itself and destroy it. Now they are sending, let's say, just for an example, a rocket whose manufacturing cost is 100 rupees. Let's talk in rupees for our understanding. We are all Indians. But the missile that is actually hitting this rocket will cost you somewhere around 10,000 rupees. Now that's the difference, people. So that is where it is monetarily going to be very expensive to maintain Iron Dome, and these Iron Dome and the Hamas people are using cheap rockets, and they cause devastation. They do cause devastation, and if you fire 5,000 of them together, it is very difficult for any system, for any defense system to actually take care of them, and few of them might get through as well. So owing to this, let's go through the news now. I hope I was able to explain